Hello and welcome to the presentation on the chapter Climate Part 2 Geography Class 9. We have studied about the different features which affect the climate of the world and also climate of India. How does the monsoon type of climate affect India due to the seasonal winds? We studied about the permanent winds, the seasonal winds, the local winds, and this seasonal wind, which is monsoon, affecting India's climate. Monsoon means a season. It is derived from the Arabic word which means mosam or season. It is a rhythmic cycle where season after season accomplish their period and then the monsoon arrives. The intense heat of the mainland is then reduced and the monsoon occurs. The Indian monsoon is characterized. The Indian monsoon is characterized because in the summer season, this mainland is getting heated and a severe low pressure is created, and this low pressure is attracting the moisture bearing winds from the nearby seas and oceans, and we can see the arrival of the moisture bearing winds into India. This water bodies, they get the moisture bearing winds, and the low pressure which is there on this mainland, that is cooled, and the uh, shift of the position is happening here, intertropical convergence zone. So we know that the tropic of Cancer divides India into two halves. This part is the tropical region, this part is subtropical region. So monsoon winds, they shift like a pendulum in the pond in the part of the different regions of India where the low pressure is there. There the moisture bearing winds shift, they drop the spells, and then after it is done, again from there another low pressure is observed, then the spell shifts to that particular region. The onset of the monsoon and the withdrawal of the monsoon. The monsoon, unlike the trades, are not steady. We don't know the arrival of monsoon. We don't know the amount of monsoon. For how many days the duration is going to variate, also we don't know. We have studied that the pressure differences between the pressure point of Tahiti in the Western Pacific and Darwin in the Eastern Pacific, these pressure points are taken and the pressure is calculated. Early monsoon is arrival of monsoon in the when the pressure difference is positive, monsoon is early, it comes in abundance. When the pressure difference is negative, then late monsoon. Monsoon usually is from 100 to 120 days, starting from early June to mid September. Around this time, the rainfall increases slowly and it first strikes the Kerala, that is called as monsoon bust or break, and it can be distinguished from pre monsoon showers, and these help in the ripening of mangoes. The monsoon arrives at the southern tip of the Indian peninsula generally by the first week of June. Subsequently, it proceeds into two branches, and the Bay of Bengal branch and the Arabian Sea branch, and reaches Mumbai about 10 days later, approximately the 10th of June. This is fairly in advancing rapidly, moving faster towards the northern part of India. The Bay of Bengal branch also advances rapidly and arrives in Assam at the first week of June. We can see here the moisture bearing winds are coming to India. They split into two. This is the Bay of Bengal branch, this is the Arabian Sea branch. After hitting the Kerala coast, then Mumbai, then go into the northern part, they merge at Delhi. These winds, they go here, they drop monsoon moisture bearing winds in this part, going covering these regions. And at Garo Kasi Jaintia hills, they take a left turn and covering Bengal and Jharkhand region. And then the Bay of Bengal branch and the Arabian Sea branch, they meet at Delhi, they merge at Delhi. This is how the moisture bearing winds are bringing. We have studied the differential aspects which affect the India's climatic conditions. Once again, we shall have a discussion on that. The differential heating and cooling of the land and the water bodies, we studied about it. The summer creates intense heat in this continental part of the country, and the moisture bearing winds from the nearby seas and oceans, they, we know that wind travels from high pressure to low pressure, so that moisture bearing winds enter into India. Number 1. Number 2, the shift of the position of the intertropical convergence zone in summer over the Ganga plain. This is the equatorial trough and normally positioned about 5 degrees of the equator. It is also known as monsoon trough during the monsoon season. So, India is having from the, we know the lowest latitude of India 8 degree 4 minutes to 37 degree 6 minutes. So even below that, the low pressure which is coming towards here, those moisture bearing winds are shifting into the mainland. So this is rotating intertropical convergence zone. This is inter, between tropical, this is the tropical region, this is subtropical region. So these winds are converging or meeting at the Ganga plain here. This here we see that the moisture bearing winds are also coming to the mainland. This is the second cause. The presence of the high pressure area east of Madagascar, approximately 20 degrees south over the Indian Ocean. We studied that this is Madagascar. This island is Madagascar. Here high pressure winds, they are traveling into low pressure winds into India. These winds are attracted towards this land area. You can see that there is no land here, and these moisture bearing winds travel and they cause rain to India. The Tibetan Plateau gets intensely heated during the summer, which results in the formation of low pressure over the plateau, and this also is a cause for rainfall. The Tibetan Plateau here, intense heat is getting here, and this also is attracting the moisture bearing winds from nearby regions. The movement of westerly jet streams to the north of the Himalayas and the presence of the tropical easterly streams over the Indian peninsula. These winds, we know that the jet streams are the winds which are traveling. We have studied these winds are traveling very fastly over the Himalayas at a height of 12,000 meters. So, even above the Mount Everest at a speed of 110 kilometers per hour in summer and 184 kilometers per hour in winter. Even these winds are also responsible for the occurrence of rainfall or monsoon in India. Indian monsoons, the Arabs who came as traders, they named this system, this reversal. The permanent winds travel over a long distance for a long period, continent to continent, and these winds are called as the permanent winds. We can have trade winds, we have westerlies, easterlies, they are the permanent winds. The seasonal winds, they travel in a direction, in a small direction, not very long, and they reverse the direction after the season is over. Example, monsoon. local winds, they travel only in that particular local region. They are examples are cyclones. So these seasonal winds are responsible for the occurrence of the monsoon. So the Arabs who traveled as traders, they named these winds as Mosam. Mosam month means season. Approximately 20 degrees north and south, roughly 20 degrees north and south. That is, from the equator, we have these winds. Monsoon simply means season. Hence, the word implies that the season is reversal. If the winds are traveling in this direction for a period, after the season is over, it will reverse the direction. It will come back in the same direction. The direction during a year, the reversal of wind direction during a year, it conveys a rhythmic season. So, arrival, advancing monsoon, removal, retreating monsoon. It is going back, retreating, going back. Changes in this direction are happening with regard to the movement of the wind, and this also affects the distribution pattern of rainfall. Some places receive extensive amount of rainfall, 240, 400. Monsoon in Meghalaya receives more than 1143 centimeters of rainfall approximately. Jaisalmer receives 12 centimeters of rainfall. This is how the globe is getting affected with these seasonal winds, and especially India, which is affected with the monsoon bearing winds. We just studied how these factors. Let us revise. Differential heating of land and water bodies, shift of the position of the tropical, intertropical convergence zone, convergence meeting zone where at Ganga plain, and the high pressure winds from Madagascar, they are bringing the moisture bearing winds into the mainland. Also, the intense heat which is generated at the Tibetan Plateau, that is also causing the rain to occur. The mechanism of monsoon, the same factors one by one in a sequential order, they affect from east to west and the north to south, which is causing the onset of monsoon covering different parts of the country, right from the Kutch to the easternmost part of the country, and right from Kerala to the topmost point. They merge at Delhi and even go further. The onset and withdrawal of monsoon. The monsoon winds are affected by different atmospheric conditions over the warm tropical seas. The duration of the monsoon can be between 100 to 200 days from early June to September, after which the season is complete. Then the monsoon reverses or it retreats, it goes back. At the time of arrival of monsoon, rainfall increases suddenly. This sudden increase of the rainfall with thunder, storm, outburst, and heavy downpour is called as monsoon burst or break. The seasons, we just studied the hot weather, sorry, the advancing monsoon and the retreating monsoon. We also have the hot weather season and the cold weather season. The cold weather season is signified by the mid November and stays till February. The most phenomenal feature of this is that January and December months are the coldest, and January is the coldest month. The temperature decreases from south to north. For example, the average temperature of Chennai on eastern coast is between 24 to 25 degrees Celsius, while the northern plains it ranges more less. It is decreasing as one travels from south towards the north. Temperature is decreasing. It is ranging between 10 to 15 degrees. Days are warm and nights are cold during this season. Frost is very commonly observed in the northern parts of the country. Snowfall is also very high in the mountainous regions. Days are short and nights are long, but days are warm and also nights are cold. In this October is a very significant month, and here some kind of oppressive heat can be noticed, and that is called as October heat. During the same period, from the Mediterranean Sea, some rain bearing winds are coming, which are called as western cyclonic disturbances. They help in the month of October, in the month of October, for the wheat crop to be harvested. The just before harvest rainfall which is coming, that rainfall is called as Mahavat. That is the low pressure system cause very important winter rains in these local regions of the northwestern part of India, and that is called as Mahavat. It helps in the cultivation of Rabi. The peninsular region also is having a moderating influence with the coast, because those places we studied, those places which are located near the sea, they are warm in winter and they are cold in summer, whereas the places which are away from the sea are oppressive, unbearable heat during the summer and very cold in the winter. Due to the apparent northward movement of the sun, the global heat it shifts northwards. As a result, from March to May, it is very very hot. This hot weather season is called as summer. The temperatures of the northern part of India goes very very up. Atmospheric pressure is also high. As we go further into higher altitudes, it keeps decreasing. We studied also about normal lapse rate with regard to temperature. Towards the end of the May, we see that low pressure is created, and that kind of low pressure which has created oppressive system in the entire mainland, in the Thar desert, in the Chotanagpur region and the other parts. Here we have upper air circulation, and we studied this upper air circulation and even beyond as the jet streams, which directly affect the hot weather climate of our country. The temperature is varying during the summer. The influence or the shifting of the heat belt can be seen from the temperature recording in some of the places in the Deccan Plateau region in April, especially in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, it is around 42 degrees. Unbearable heat. In May, northwestern part of the country experiences temperature around 45 degrees Celsius. Due to the moderating influence of the oceans, the temperature remains lower in the peninsular because the coast moderates the influence. We have seen that the advancing monsoon, the monsoon keeps moving towards, after striking the southern point, it will slowly move towards the northern plains and it intensifies. This attracts the southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere. These trade winds, they originate from the warm subtropics of the ocean and they enter into the mainland. After crossing the equator, these blow towards the southwesterly direction and enter into Indian peninsula. When they are entering, how they split into two branches, we just saw in the map. As these winds blow over warm oceans, they bring abundant moisture to this subcontinent, and that causes the immense of rainfall. And these winds, they travel at the average velocity of 30 kilometers per hour, but we studied jet streams travel at 110 kilometers per hour in the summer and 184 kilometers per hour in winter. The rainfall in the Western Ghats, Deccan Plateau, northeastern region, it's very very huge. It is ranging between 250 to 400 centimeters in the Deccan Plateau. The maximum amount of rainfall in this season can be noticed in the northwestern part of the country. Monsoon is in the Khasi hills of Meghalaya, receives the highest amount of rainfall in the world. It is called the wettest place in the world, and it is famous for the caves, and it is having immense the world maximum amount of rainfall can be seen. Rainfall in the Ganga valley also decreases because we know that the monsoon trough keeps moving as a pendulum, and based on this the moisture bearing winds are also shifting. The retreating monsoon after meeting at Delhi, the season is over in September. From October, the cold weather season starts, and these monsoons are returning. The period is marked by clear sky and rise in temperature. The day temperatures are high, but night temperatures are cool and pleasant. This day temperatures are oppressive, and so they are called as October heat. In the second half of the October, the temperature begins to fall rapidly, and these winds keep going back because now they have attained the high pressure from the mainland, and a severe depression or low pressure can be noticed in the Andaman region, and while going they drop the much amount of rainfall in Tamil Nadu. That is why Tamil Nadu receives the rainfall from the northeast. We can say the rainfall as it is going back. So the monsoon, when it is returning, it will give the rainfall. So the shift is associated with the occurrence of cyclonic depression. This depression is created in the Andaman Sea close to Orissa and Tamil Nadu. These cyclones are crossing the eastern coast of India, and they cause havoc and cyclonic depressions, heavy rain and widespread rain. Often they are causing lot of destruction. Sometimes these cyclones arrive at the coast of Orissa, West Bengal, even Bangladesh. These cyclones frequently strike the most populated deltas of Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, and this has to be handled because the Coromandel coast is getting affected during this October and November season. That's how the retreating monsoon, the going back monsoon, returning monsoon is causing rainfall to Tamil Nadu, Andaman Nicobar region. Monsoon as a unifying bond, we see that year after year every person, agriculturist, industrialist, every person belonging to different communities, the picturesque landscape, everyone is dependent on this rainfall. This rainfall may be differing. In some of the places it is 400 centimeters of rainfall, and in some of the places like less than 60 centimeters western Rajasthan, Jaisalmer 12 centimeters, and some parts of Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, they receive little more amount of rainfall. So the interior parts of Sahyadris, which are characterized by orographic part of rainfall, they receive more amount of rainfall because they are on the windward side, and the regions which are on the other side, they are on the leeward side, they don't receive any amount of rainfall. How does the orographic rainfall occur? The orographic rainfall occurs like this is a mountainous region. The moisture bearing winds come this way into the mainland. They are obstructed by the mountain. They rise up, and here the rain falls in this region. This is called as windward side, and this side where rainfall is absent, it is called as leeward side. This type of rainfall is called as orographic rainfall. In this way, the monsoon, which are the seasonal winds of the country, they are associated with a weather conditions in our country which provides a rhythmic cycle of the season. the arrival of monsoon, the retreat of monsoon, the cold weather season, the hot weather season, even the uncertainty of rainfall. When it is coming, no one knows. Whether it is a early monsoon, no one knows. Whether it is a delayed monsoon, no one knows. Uneven distribution. Some places receive more than 1000 centimeters of rainfall, some places receive 200, some places receive 400, some places receive 12, and the desert region, some parts doesn't receive rainfall at all. The picturesque landscape of our country, the animals, the plants, the flora, the fauna, the natural habitat, everything is dependent on the monsoon. In fact, the entire agricultural calendar, the life of the people, their festivals, their celebration, everything revolves around this beautiful phenomenon of monsoon. Year after year in India, from north to south to east to west, the eagerly arrival of the monsoon, because summers are very oppressive. They want to get liberation from the first showers. Everybody wants to enjoy the first shower, and that beautiful shower combines the people, combines the lakes, combines the seas, combines the agriculture, combines the people. It acts as a bond, the unifying bond of the country. This also is a factor of national integration. This geographical factor, which affects the lives of the people, our basic essential commodity, the water, drinking water, purest water, and the rainwater harvesting system, everything dependent on this. This presentation was made by my student Kavya, and I take delight in explaining part 2 of climate. I hope, my children, it is clear for you. Thank you so much for following me. Please comment and text me for more queries. Thank you so much. God bless you all.